Hi, my name is Judy and I'm the City Stitcher, and welcome to my Flosstube channel. Today is Sunday, January the 31st, and we are at the end of the first month of 2021. And it certainly has been an interesting first month of the new year. I hope everybody's had a good week. It is a reasonably decent day here. I feel like it's not quite as frosty as it was last week, but I'm not sure that the temperatures actually support my statement. But at least I'm feeling not quite as frosty. If you are a new viewer, thank you for stopping by and spending some time with me. If you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming back and spending some time with me, because you know what's going to happen, or at least the gist of what's going to happen. This is a channel about cross stitch and the stitching that I have done this week. And with that, let's get right to it. So this has not been my best stitching week for a variety of reasons. A couple of things have been occurring. So I did get some stitching in. I have accomplished some things, and as usual, I have not accomplished all of the things I was hoping to get accomplished this week. So with that, I'm going to start off with what I like to call the never-ending camel. And I'm going to show nothing, because that's exactly what I got accomplished on the never-ending camel. Don't get me wrong, Scarlett reached out to me after last week's video. She's been fantastic. She sent me some close-ups of her camel, of the part that, you know, terrifies me, which was awesome. That was very helpful. So thank you so much, Scarlett. She's also sent me her phone number and has said, happy to chat. I've said, let me get started, but I may totally take her up on that. So thank you so much, Scarlett. That has been an awesome offer. Your photos were fantastic. I really appreciate it. And hopefully between all of that, I will manage to successfully get my camel accomplished. I just didn't get anything accomplished on the camel this week like I was hoping to. But that's okay. That's life. Things happen in life, and things don't always go according to plan. Actually, I think in my experience, things rarely go according to plan. We have the best of intentions and the best plans, and you know, then life happens and something slightly different happens. So with that, that's my best shot of the camel, or at least the changes that I've accomplished in the camel. Nothing. But I did get some stitching in. So as I've shown before, and certainly ties in with the topic of this week's video. I'll also say it's probably going to be one of my shorter videos. Let's talk wrap up of Just Nan January. So here is Lady Scarlett's Journey, part number 3. So Lady Scarlett's Journey was my New Year, New Start. This is the project that I have been working on. It's a series of 3 charts. So I started it on January the 1st. We have now hit, today is January the 31st, and I have successfully finished all of Lady Scarlett's Journey. So I have finished part 3. So that's from these pine cones down. So that's the finish of part 3. So as of from last week, so what I've really accomplished is I've got all of this band and this band down here. So I got those all stitched up, and I have managed to get all of the beads and the charms. So cat charm, there is a mouse charm here, and the Lady Scarlet charm there. But so not a huge amount of beads, but I will say these are the beads that, you know, they're spread out. So 5 there, the gold ones up here on the top band. But there you go. So there is Lady Scarlett's Journey. It is my, so I'm counting this as 3 finishes. Yeah, so let's talk about Stitch from Stash. So New Year, New Start. I'm doing Stitch from Stash in 2021, and so there are 3 charts, part 1, part 2, part 3. And so for Stitch from Stash, now I have to do the math on these as to what happens. So I will do the stitch count for each of the parts. and work out the math on that. So far this month I have been uber successful. So my budget was $25 US, which is the maximum allowed, and I chose the maximum allowed again because this is the first year I'm actually trying to do it and trying to be successful. So I have this week I have spent nothing. I have bought nothing. I have decided that with finishing 3 charts, I've decided that that will entitle me to buy a new chart. Right now I'm saying 1. Buy a new chart, and I've already decided which one it is, and I talked about this last week. So come, I'm going to say it's probably early March is when it's really going to be released. So Jeanette Douglas has released some sneak peeks of her Blooming Bouquet number 6. And as I said before, I've been very fortunate enough to actually have a sneak peek at the model for that, and I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So that's my treat for me once it gets released. So Blooming Bouquet number 6 will be coming home once it gets released. There have been a number of other charts that I've seen, discussed. So far I've managed to talk myself out of them. I've seen a couple. I might have, put a couple into a cart and done nothing with that. But anyway. But again, so Stitch from Stash, need to do the math. So I will carry forward my $25 budget because I have spent nothing. And I will get the credits for my 3 finishes on this. And yes, now so again, my intention is to finish it as a bell pull, just like the chart shows. And I do have bell pull hardware for it, just not the same as what's in the chart, but Just Nan bell pull hardware. And you all know me, I'm not great about fully finishing things, so when the fully finished for this occurs is up for grabs. I am hoping to get it fully finished in 2021. So I know, whoo, big goal I set for myself. Hopefully in 2021 I will get this finished into a bell pull, but I'm considering myself very successful because 3 charts from my stash have now been fully stitched. This was done on a 28 count Pewter Jobelan. So there you go. So that's my Stitch from Stash, my restraint, even though I've been looking at things. One decision about an acquisition, which will be coming. So this month, as I said, this has been my Just Nan January, and for the last 3 weeks I have been showing you, I've just realized I forgot to bring over the chart. Hang on just a second. Okay, I've been showing you some of my fully finished Just Nan stitching, because if you've been watching, sometimes you go, you're good at stitching, you're terrible at fully finishing, which is absolutely accurate. And the one that I'm going to show you is the one that started all of the snowflakes for me. And so this is Amethyst Snowflake. This is what the chart looks like. And if you order this now, so this is still available. This is not what the chart looks like. So this is from the original printing. Again, it's another example of something where it was published, it went out of print, and then due to popular demand came back. So that is what Amethyst Snowflake looks like from the chart. And this is my Amethyst Snowflake. So a couple of things on this. So this actually, I have used all of the called for fibers. I have used the called for beads that came with the chart. The thing that makes it look different is I am using a darker fabric than what was called for. And as usual, so they did theirs on a 28 count lavender mist cashel linen. Now, I don't know that lavender mist cashel is still available. Again, this is another elderly chart. Chart number 42. Again, I'm terrible at finding these copyright things. I don't know that it's on here. Anyway, Amethyst Snowflake, and I think at the time I was kitting this up, they did actually have the lavender mist, but again, I think it was an example of when I looked at the lavender mist, I felt that the white didn't show up as well as I wanted it to, and so I chose a darker linen. And again, this is before I started to keep track of my projects and what I was doing and what I was changing and all that kind of stuff. So I chose a darker linen. I have no idea what color this is. I have nothing left from this particular fabric. But I do think out of the 4 snowflakes that I have stitched, this is my favorite of the 4. So the funny story about this is I was finishing this up. I took this on a retreat that I went to many, many years ago. And I really spent, I feel like most of the retreat, beading this lovely thing up. There are quite a few beads in this, and they're all spaced out and, 12 different things anyway. And I laughed. So I didn't think anything of it. I just sat in my lovely little corner and was working on my project and, all kinds of things. And like I said, I think it took me the whole weekend to finish this. And the next time I went into the LNS that was putting the retreat on, one of the owners came to me and said, we really enjoyed the project you were working on. And I was like, oh, thanks. I like that one too. And she's like, no, it's like, we've gotten about 10 or 12 orders from people who watched you stitch it on the weekend. So they were going, thanks for bringing that along, because that worked out really well. And again, that is one of the best things about retreats, is when you get to see what everybody's working on and what it looks like. And again, I do think part of it is that how this looks fairly different than how that looks like on the cover. And we all know that the cover pictures are never as good as what the project in real life is, and certainly seeing a project in real life can change how you view it. But this is the snowflake that started it all. Yeah, there you go. Ah, love that one. And speaking of snowflakes, Miss Kitty, okay, that's that new snowflake. What do you think if we put it on Riviera Aqua Linen? The white would certainly show up and change the interior colors to lighter aquas, like the ones that you're using for your Zimmerman coverlet, like the lightest one of those two. Yeah, anyway. Okay, so still not doing great. Haven't bought the Just Nan. Haven't put it into the plans to acquire yet, but thinking about it. I need to see the chart to actually have a look at that. So Miss Kitty, think about that. Let me know. Send me an email, citystitcher52@gmail.com, and we'll see where that one's going. Anyway, so those are my Just Nans for this week. A finish of a new one. Again, I'm feeling very successful in 2021 as far as my stitching goes, because this was started. I started January 2021 with a blank piece of fabric. I have finished Lady Scarlett's journey, part 1, part 2, part 3, so I'm feeling very accomplished so far. Okay, I realized I forgot a couple of things, so I'm going to edit this part back into the other video. A couple of things happening in stitching land. So one thing, Needlework Expo. For those of you who don't know, so the Nashville Needlework Market, which is normally held, I'm going to say late February, more recently, usually like the first weekend of March. down in Nashville. So last year, they announced that they were moving it from March to May. They have now officially come out and said that the Nashville Needlework Market is canceled for 2021. Technically disappointing, but hey, March, there's still, even May, you know, where the travel restrictions and what everybody's been able to do, still unknown. You know, it's been happening with retreats that, you know, people have been hoping to do things. But anyway, so Nashville Needlework Market has officially been canceled for 2021. They have said that they are planning on doing it in 2022. I don't believe that any dates have been released for that as of yet. Needlework Expo is going to be an online Needlework Expo going on again that first weekend of March. It is technically only open to retailers, so it's a wholesale market. So, you know, people like me can't go to Needlework Expo and buy things, but LNSs and online needlework shops can sign up to participate in that. So I feel like it's kind of going to be like an online version of the Nashville market. Again, I'll put the link to the Needlework Expo. There's two things that you can do on that website. One, you can look to see which designers and needlework, you know, accessory manufacturers are going to be participating in Needlework Expo. And there's a big long list of that. You can also go on there and you can look to see who has signed up as a retailer to participate in Needlework Expo. And so what that will do is it will allow you to see who's participating, see whose websites you should be monitoring, to see what they're doing. How every given store is actually going to run their process for Needlework Expo is unknown at this point in time. I haven't seen a ton of stores even commenting about it. I can't remember, something came up and I was like, oh, Needlework Expo. I jumped right on there, was very grateful. One of my LNSs is participating in Needlework Expo, so I know who to go to get things if I shouldn't be doing this. If I want to shop, don't forget, gift certificate. I still have a Christmas birthday gift certificate to use, so I could be using Needlework Expo as my gift. Anyway, I know I shouldn't be doing this. I'm sort of going, planned shopping. Anyway, wrong. Anyway, okay. Again, so people have been showing tidbits of what's coming out, you know, and I do know that sort of when Nashville was originally being moved, that some of the designers that I follow were commenting that they were probably going to be adjusting their release schedule, but they were still going to be releasing things in that same time frame because they have stuff that they've charted, produced, ready to go. You know, so there's that. Anyway, so exactly how it's going to work. One, I would say go on there, get excited about who's going to be participating and making their products available for sale. I look at that and go, look who's going to be doing new releases. I need to practice restraint. Maybe Needlework Expo is going to be an exercise for me in how to look at all the lovely things and go not shopping. Or it could be that they could do all of those wonderful designs that appeal to everybody but me, which is, don't get me wrong, my tastes are not everybody's tastes, and I acknowledge that. And that's just how life works. You know, when people look at artwork, what appeals to person A doesn't necessarily appeal to person B, C, D, and whatever. There are people who like, I'm going to pick on chickens. There are people who like chickens in their stitch work. That's not me. There's nothing wrong with chickens. If you like a good pattern with a chicken in it, great. I'm all for if there's chickens in these releases because chickens don't necessarily appeal to me, and that will help with my Stitch from Stash. But this is, you know, if this is a year where everything is produced, every new release is designed for everybody but me. Hey, this is my stitch from stash year. There's nothing wrong with that, although Jeanette Douglas's Blooming Bouquet number 6 is coming out, and I've already said that I want that. Anywho. Okay, so I want Needlework Expo to be great, but not too great. Anyway, so that's coming up again. I will put a link to Needlework Expo so you can see who from a designer or a stitching accessory. So I'm stitching accessories, so scissors, needle minders, project bags, fabrics, you know, threads, all those kinds of things, all those things we use to make a project besides the chart, those people. So you can go and look and see who's going to be participating from that perspective, and you also get to go on there and you can see if an LNS that you know and like is on there, so that you can, one, I would say make sure you're signed up for the store's newsletter, because most of those stores do have a newsletter, so that you can see once they start publishing what their process is going to be for participating in Needlework Expo. I haven't seen anything from mine, so I can't tell you what's going on with that. And you know, I'm on a number of newsletters, so I haven't seen anything explicit about how people are planning on running it. But hey, first weekend in March, something's going to be happening. New releases coming, so that's exciting. From a couple other ones, this is coming from from Fat Quarter Shop. On the last few videos, they have been making a comment about the DMC supply is trickling in, if at all. Now, I have not researched this, so I'm just relying on what they've been talking about, saying it sounds to me like the DMC factory over in Europe is potentially shut down or has been shut down for a bit. I don't know if it started back up, but they're going that sort of, don't get me wrong, if the factory has been shut down because of higher COVID cases over there, one, safety first. Safety first. Safety first. I want everybody, I really do want everybody to be able to come out of the other side of the pandemic healthy. So safety first, but it does mean that it looks like it's having an impact on the supply of DMC right now. So if you're, again, if your stores are having difficulties getting you the DMC, it's not necessarily their fault. Welcome to supply chain disruptions during the life of pandemic. So one, if you've placed an order, please honor your order. To be patient with whoever you're ordering it from, because it could be entirely out of their hands as to when they're going to be able to get supply on that. 3, Dovo scissors. So Dovo scissors, I have seen that they are discontinuing making their scissors for needlework. So Dovo they're really nice scissors. They are not the most economical of scissors. They're also not the most expensive scissors that I've seen for needlework, you know, so bear that in mind. But I will say, if you've ever been going, I would love to have a pair of Dovo scissors as part of my stash. I would highly recommend that you start finding those scissors and acquiring them now. So as far as I know, they are no longer manufacturing them. It does not mean that you can't find Dovo scissors. There are still Dovo scissors to be had. They are not gone. Your selection may be limited. The stores that may still have some, is probably also going to be a little more limited than they were before. But if you've ever been wanting to add a pair of Dovo scissors to your stash, now is the time to go get them. So those are the new things that I know about what's happening sort of from a stitching community and Stitchwise perspective. Hope that helps. And again, if you've got anything that you want me to specifically address or talk about, feel free to shoot me an email or put it in the comments down below. Okay, that's it for this section. Again, I will insert this into the previous video and we'll go from there. Have a great week. And with that, that's going to lead into my plans for this week. So this week I really am going to start working on the scary parts of the camel. I will have the camel to show next week. What it looks like. It could be one of those ones where I started it and had to take things. Anyway, never mind that. We won't put negativity out there. But I will be spending some time working on the camel. But with that, a new month starts tomorrow. So I will be starting another new project. Because again, if you've been watching for a little bit, you know that I have kitted up all of my 2021 plans. So this is my February bag with my charts and my fabric. So one of my tasks for this evening is to actually get my project set up, ready to go for tomorrow. I did haul out the threads for it. So these are my threads that are called for this lovely new project, which I'm starting tomorrow. Still has Kreinik in it, has Rainbow Gallery products in it, so I have all sorts of things going on in there. So there's the threads for my new project, and I have to say I'm really looking forward to starting a new project. So one of the things that I'm learning about my stitching this year is, while I do tend to be a monogamous stitcher, I do get bored of things. And I'm kind of going like I'm thinking that 3 weeks is about my time frame where I go like full on strong focus. It's about 3 weeks. And then I feel like I need to do some variety. But I also have said I'm terrible about, trying to juggle multiple projects. Hence, look at this week. Don't get me wrong, successful on Lady Scarlett's journey, sucked on getting the camel done. Anyway, so tomorrow starts a new month, new project, new start, a continuation of the never-ending nativity, but looking forward to the new start. And it will be interesting to see how I do with juggling in the new month, given what I'm learning about my stuff. And with that, as I said, this is going to be a really short one. So Just Nan January is wrapping up. So I will have a new words for February. And with that, I hope everybody has a really good week. And I hope that you find time to do some stitching. I hope you have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, find some time for stitching, and I look forward to seeing you next week. See you guys.